Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museums will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
Good evening, Misfit Nation. Good evening, Stephen.
Good evening. I was playing with buttons. I was like losing us for a second there. Welcome to the Thursday show, everybody.
Welcome
As
to
you
the
can
Thursday.
see, it's the Tuesday crew, but it's the Thursday show.
Hey, and welcome. Howdy, Tyler. Glad to see you checked in this evening. Hey, Stephen, how's your week
Yes,
been,
sir.
man? Since I saw you on Tuesday.
And it's been good. An extra cut on my arm from working, but it's all good. It's what you do when you play with cars. You get cut. Otherwise, life is life.
How was Mr. Lamonica when you hung out with him today?
Oh, he was good. Richard had to talk to his siblings into actually fixing his driveway. So the guys are there building a wall on the side so it stopped collapsing and getting work done. So and little by little, we're straightening out the house and making sure everything's good.
All right.
84, he can't do it himself.
Hey, I completely understand. My week's been pretty good. Going to wind it down tomorrow. Got one more day. I got to go into the office, and then it's got more chickens to kill this weekend. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Adam Peters. He's a U.S. Army veteran, and his story is a story of transformation. Post-military service, he had some deep struggles, gained a bunch of weight, hopelessness, and he had a life-changing ceremony, and it just kind of got him started on a new mission. And now he's the founder of the Strategic Veteran, and he's dedicated to helping veterans strive through entrepreneurship, holistic healing, and building meaningful connections. And we are going to just go ahead and pop him in here, and we're going to get this thing started.
Hello, Adam.
Hello, Adam.
How you boys doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. I gave a little bit of your bio about kind of what you're doing now. Why don't you just kind of start off and start wherever you want to and bring us to how we got here today?
Well, yeah, man. So born and raised in Southern Indiana. We talked about that offline. Posey County. Graduated from North Posey Senior High School. Knew college wasn't the way for me. Knew there was something more to the world than Indiana and wanted to see it. So the Army it was, man. A month to the day after I graduated, there I was, Fort Benning, 30th AG, ready to go, be an infantryman.
Yay.
Would spend the next roughly 12 and a half, almost 13 years, pretty much every other year deployed. So I did 3 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan. After the Afghanistan deployment, had a couple shoulder surgeries, told me I couldn't be an infantryman anymore, and med boarded me out. So I was medically retired in November of 2015. The first 4 years were pretty easy because I did kind of what the ACAP program at the time told you to do. Learn how to write a resume, take advantage of your GI Bill, find a corporate job, and good luck. And after I ran out of GI Bill and voc rehab money, that's when things really started to get rough because I don't like working for other people, man. I just really, not only that, but I went to flight school, so I'm a licensed commercial pilot. That was the first half of my degree. So I got an AST in literally professional pilot, but flying I thought was my dream. It turns out it's not just fly point A to point B. It's spent about 2 years after flight school of instructing or trying to get a competitive low time job. If you're going to go the instructor route, that means you're going to just go fly circles in a box in the sky, do the same thing day in and day out for 18 months to 2 years to pay your dues to get the hours that Congress says you need to be able to fly for the airlines. And I wasn't interested in that, man. It's no fun being in a tiny little airplane shoulder to shoulder with somebody else because I'm a giant, essentially. So I decided to kind of walk away from that to pursue the bachelor's degree because I kind of wanted a career in aviation. I thought that would be a welcome break after, flying through flight school pretty quick. And I did. I went and got a bachelor's degree from the Evergreen State College in business and psychology. It's kind of a choose your own adventure college. And then it was time to find work, man. And so through the bachelor's degree, I had managed a gun store. I'd worked in a vape shop, retail sales, that kind of stuff. When I took over management of the gun store, I quickly had a knack for, all of it, the business side of it. Also was there during COVID, so made him a lot of money. But really what made me jaded was doing such a good job that he stopped showing up. So I was there 7 days a week running somebody else's business, making somebody else money. So Voc Rehab, at the end of it, they'll give you extra money if you can show that you're trying to find a job or whatever. So, the only stipulations to that is you can't turn down interviews. If they find out you turn down interviews, they cut the money off. So I got a couple of interviews, and I chose to get into the insurance industry. Hindsight's 2020. That's a shitty industry to be in, man. Particularly the way I started knocking doors, selling final expense to seniors, and they didn't tell me anything about what I needed to know. They just sold it to me as it's a really lucrative profession. And I can't argue that it is really lucrative, but there's some caveats to that. And, the way they pay commissions, what chargebacks are, how to follow up with a book of business, save people from, coming off your book, and basically went broke doing that because of chargebacks. Essentially, in that industry, you get 9 months advance on commissions, but if they cancel the policy in the first month, you owe 8 months of that commission back. And so it's essentially like, I would equate it to, if you really want to run it the right way, for 9 months, you're not spending any money at all, period. Like, it's fake money. It doesn't exist. It's not yours until that policy stays in effect. And here's what I learned, selling final expense insurance to the poorest 1/3 of Americans is never going to stay on the books ever. It's just not. They can't afford to live. And I'm talking about kind of where you guys live, rural Tennessee, rural Georgia, rural North Florida, like really, really hard up folks who have no financial literacy whatsoever. I'll never forget rolling up to this one lead's house. There's an Aston Martin in the driveway, but there's a tree growing out of their roof. Like how is that good business? So I left that and went and did some more stuff in the insurance industry, and just really generally hated it. After that, I told my wife, look, you gave me the time I asked you for after we moved across the country to do this. I clearly failed and gone broke. We can move to wherever you want. Came back to Florida, got back in flight school to finish up to become an instructor, so I could just, do that in a profession. And it's not a bad profession. It pays really well. And part of what really kind of sent me further down the dark rabbit hole was I was a week away from taking the instructor check ride. And there's a form you have to fill out that tracks all of your hours that you submit to the FAA before a check ride called an 8710. Well, my logbook had gotten stolen by a tweaker out of my house when I lived in Washington before we left. And that's the only place you can really get those numbers unless the FAA happens to publish your old 8710 from your last check ride on the website. Well, they did not do that for me. So long story short, I had to write them a letter, send them a $2 check, and wait 6 months for them to send me the numbers that I needed. And that was kind of it for me, man. I really kind of just checked out, spent a lot of time wondering what I'm doing here, what my purpose is, why I'm still alive, like just all the thoughts, right? And I was working a job, probably the best job I've ever had, actually, in the sod farms down here. Just show up, get an assignment, go mow sod from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon for $1,000 a week. No responsibility, nobody looking over your shoulder. Just do the job, listen to podcasts and books, whatever you want to listen to, and just show up and do the thing.
And sit on a lawnmower and run a racetrack.
Yeah, man. And I'm like a weirdo. I enjoy mowing grass. Like, it's just one of my things. So, it was kind of the perfect job for me. Just easy, mind numbing. Gave me a chance to really, I don't know, just be introduced to different things. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I listened to, I think that year, that in that 6-month period, I listened to like over 80 books, varying from, military thriller fiction to, business, self-help, anything, you name it, I was consuming it. The biggest problem I had was like, what book am I going to listen to today? Because you could finish a book in a day. I got the numbers back from the FAA, and I was set to finish the week-long training on that following Monday. But that weekend, I had gone to my dad's to change out the bars on my Harley. And as we were finishing up putting the front fairing back on the Harley, I tore my left bicep tendon. Well, when you're training to become an instructor, you sit in the right seat and you work the throttle with your left arm. Well, I couldn't do anything with my left arm, so that really just ended everything for me. I really fell into pretty much the worst of it, and just kind of continued after surgery to just be lazy, checked out, no motivation to do anything. And I came across, while I was in the sod farm, the Sean Ryan show, and I heard him talk about his psychedelic journey, particularly when he does the episode where he talks about that with his wife. And I noticed all the changes, and I knew I had to start pursuing that, because for me, I'd looked around at all my buddies who had gotten out, that I had gone to war with. They're pilled out of their mind from the VA, and they're still trying to kill themselves. So like, that's definitely not a route I want to go. They're just zombies drooling on themselves with the same thoughts and feelings that I'm having. So that's really not going to help. And I really thought that Ibogaine and 5-MeO-DMT would cure me. And come to find out, I would get even more frustrated looking for different programs like what Sean Ryan leveraged to go do his thing. I found out real quick that they really only cater to special operations forces, and they don't cater to the conventional forces like I was. Yeah. And so, that sends me even further down that hole and just makes me even more hopeless. And by the grace of God or the universe or whatever, you guys believe in, or everybody listening, Heroic Hearts actually reached out. I apparently filled out an application, and they accepted me, and I had a date to go to Peru in a journey that would change the entire course of my life and who I am as a person, and just make my life infinitely better, man.
So can you talk about that? I mean, what did you, I mean, I don't want to talk about, your inner, what went on, but,
you want the Cliff Notes version. I got you.
Yeah. Give me the Cliff Notes version.
Yes. So July 2nd through the 7th of 2023 was my retreat. I left the day before. All expenses paid, right? So get on a plane here in Orlando, fly to Lima, Peru, from Lima, Peru, change planes and get to Tarapoto, Peru. Get picked up by, actually they give you instructions on how to get from the airport in Tarapoto, which is the tiniest airport I've ever seen, on the little rickshaws to the hotel that you're going to stay at and get checked in. From there, you wait a day or two, and then they come pick you up to take you to the retreat, and you cross the bridge to this really sacred space in the high jungle. And it's one of the most amazing places I've ever been. But the Cliff Notes is, I promised myself two things when I went there: that I would participate in everything, and that I would keep an open mind, because my state of mind at the time was probably like everybody else. When you talk to them about plant medicine today, they think you're a hippie, they think you're woo-woo, they think it's crazy. It's very out there, and I was having the same thoughts and feelings. So by participating in everything, there's either 4 or 6, I can't remember, weeks of integration that you do with a one-on-one coach, and then group coaching, I think, was twice a week before the retreat via Zoom. And then you do that post also for 4 or 6 weeks. And it's really great, man. You talk about a lot of different things, really kind of unrelated to plant medicine, but all these different healing modalities like breath work, gratitude practices, abundance mindset, mindfulness, meditation, yoga. You learn how to implement all of these into your life. And before the experience, I was pretty apprehensive to adopt any of those things. I was like everybody else. I think this is fucking stupid, or like, this can't work. Like, how can just being grateful for things change your mindset? Then you go to the retreat and they reinforce that stuff, and then you take the medicine. And I'll just say the medicine did a few things for me. It taught me that there is a higher power without question. It taught me that everything is connected. It taught me about balance between light and dark, and I was consumed by darkness. And it taught me how to love and respect myself. And that was key. It taught me in loving and respecting myself that I'm way more capable than anybody in my life or society has ever given me credit for or led me to believe. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, man. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff we could go into. Like, I thought I was going to have to deal with traumas of war. And what I really had to deal with was kind of some childhood trauma and some stuff from my upbringing that obviously affected me, but I didn't know that it affected me or was causing the behaviors and the anger issues and all of that. And there's so many other things, man. I have an entire journal from that week that I revisit pretty frequently as I learn some new lessons and unpack some new stuff from that experience.
That sounds like quite a journey. And, since you've had that journey, now you've started helping other veterans and sharing and just trying to help out other people get out of that darkness. And that's one of the main focuses of our show here is to help people shed that darkness.
Poof, he's gone.
Yeah.
I love this connection.
Well, hopefully he gets popped back in here pretty soon. He had a real interesting story. So everybody out there right now, remember to like and share and subscribe. And if you're listening on the recorded show, please like and subscribe, and welcome to the show. There we go.
Welcome back.
Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. To spinny little circles, and I was like, I've got internet connection. What happened here?
Were you a magician in a former life?
No, I was not. Maybe there's a good possibility it could have been. I don't know.
He was deep in conversation, and he went, "Poof, I'm gone."
I know. What was your last question, Jake? I said
I want you to talk about the strategic veteran.
Yeah. So through my ayahuasca experience, like kind of the lesson I learned was I was consumed by darkness, and in that darkness, it manifested as anger. And kind of the lesson I learned was like, we all have a purpose here. And I think my purpose is to help others and share the knowledge that I've learned. So, after I came back from that experience, a lot of changes happened in my life. I started really getting more physically active, paying more attention to the things that I was eating, instituting the gratitude practices and the meditation and the mindfulness and the yoga and the breath work and the grounding and all of that stuff. And I quickly started to realize, like, there's a lot of us that are struggling with all of these things in the veteran community, and we could all benefit from these things. And they're free. You don't need to take a trip to Peru and sit with medicine to get these tools. So I was challenged on November 5th of last year by one of my best friends in the world to get on LinkedIn and post every single day and engage with 5 people who have content that interests you. So I had no idea what it was going to be about, what I was starting. I was just literally basically throwing shit at a wall and seeing what would stick. I think I started talking about personal branding and then moved to SEO. And then quickly through all of that, I would attract attention from people who would DM me, say, "Hey, let's book a meeting. I think you're a cool guy. I want to talk to you." And that would inform some more things that I could do. And so, quickly kind of like, maybe I should be a leader in the veteran transition space, because transition is a big, big thing that we are lacking in resources, and just overall the transition is not good for us. And so, through more meetings and meeting with more people who are smarter than me or further along than I am, or whatever that looks like to you, I was challenged by a mentor to reach out to a creator in my area locally here that is further along than you that you think you would benefit from. So I did that, and I reached out to him, asked him if he would meet me in person, so we could network. And he said yes. And so I went over to Orlando to Disney Springs on a Sunday afternoon, and I met with this guy. The first thing he said to me was like, I love what you're doing. I love that you're trying to figure out what to do in the veteran space and be, I hate this term, but like a thought leader or just a leader. He's like, but I see some issues. You're not the guy that's going to get his message across from behind a keyboard. Have you thought about starting a podcast? So I just listened, man. I took as many mental notes as I could because we were walking around Disney Springs and didn't really have a chance to write down notes. I came home and I got to work, man. I was like, I'm just going to launch a podcast. I'm going to commit to 52 weeks of doing that, 1 episode a week. Let me get some guests. I started thinking about like what would have helped me. And I know what would have helped me is I was always fascinated by entrepreneurship, by internet money. Back in late 2020, early 2021 with the pandemic, everybody was talking about you can make $10,000 a month in the next 30 days. I'm a victim of all of those, YouTube gurus. I tried all that stuff from blogging to drop shipping to Amazon FBA to faceless videos on different platforms. And I quickly started, investing in myself. I thought buying their courses, and what I discovered was they're just getting you in a funnel and they're upselling you the next secret, but they never give you the secret. Well, so I started thinking like, okay, the path back to purpose, what are veterans missing when they get out? Well, they lose their identity and they lose their sense of purpose. And I was like, that's it. Like the podcast is about the path back to purpose being through entrepreneurship, because I honestly believe that all of the skills we learn in the military are high leverage skills that translate well into the business world, the corporate world as well. But I just don't want to be a wage slave. I want to work for myself and control my time. I can tell you where that comes from. That comes from working jobs where I have to use PTO to go on a VA appointment that I have no control over when it gets scheduled. And I just, I've been threatened to be fired at different jobs for having too many VA appointments. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I just kind of wanted to make my own way, and I didn't know what that looked like. And I know you can make money from a podcast. So I was like, let's just do this. Let's structure our finances in a way. Let's create valuable content and figure out a way to be the guy that I didn't have when I was transitioning out. So I started the podcast and, got on Facebook, looked for veteran entrepreneurs to come tell their story. And that was about 90 episodes ago. And I've only released 30, but I've got that many in the bank. And that has opened so many doors for me, because if you think of a podcast, it's a mini networking opportunity. It's a masterclass in whatever sector or vertical of entrepreneurship that the guest is in. I would quickly, pick up tips and tricks through the conversations that would help me move the business along. It's how I decided to start the Stronghold, which is my community for veterans. It's a member-driven community. It's the antithesis of Facebook groups, which I think are toxic cesspools on the internet that perpetuate the suicide epidemic. And generally, I just wanted to help our brothers and sisters find a way to live a better life through all of those healing modalities that I learned from my trip to Peru, and just stop killing themselves. So that's really, it's just a personal brand. I don't claim to be a strategic veteran. In fact, one of my audience members, my followers, was the one that came up with the name, said it was really cool, and I just kind of ran with it. So, Ryan, the name of the podcast is the Strategic Veteran Podcast. That's it. And we're part of Heroes Media Group too, so you can find us over there with Adam Bird, and I know you guys are part of that. And yeah, man, I think long-term plans for the strategic veteran is I would really like to figure out how to make a transition program that is an option for veterans getting out. Maybe even a year before they get out, they can come through a program that will, teach them all of the different tips and tricks for, really taking so what I really believe is that as veterans, to heal when we get out, we have to shed the fixed mindset that the military keeps us in and adopt a growth mindset. And we have to do that by figuring out who we are as individuals without the military. The way you do that is you sit down and you examine what are your core beliefs, your core values, and your passions. And I genuinely believe anybody can build a business around those things, whether that's a product-based business, a service-based business, an education business, a podcast, a community. I mean, the opportunities are endless. You know, I just had a guy that reached out to me last week. We're working together now. He just wants to ride mountain bikes and create content. And I was like, dude, that's extremely possible. I see 1,000,001 ways you could make money off of that, you know? And so he's in a place where he's going to go all in on it. And I just want to be that for others. Like, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into a corporate career and be miserable because it doesn't align with who you are as a person, because you don't know who you are as a person because you've never taken the time to figure that out for yourself.
Well, see, I find it funny. We're doing this, Jake and I, since maybe March, and I'm getting more comfortable doing these podcasts because my brother did it for years, and we were in the chat room. He's like, "Hey, why don't you do Tuesdays?" And we started doing it. I find it harder to do this. I work retail. I've been working retail for over 35 years. I talk to people all day. This is harder than being face to face with somebody. I'm in front of a computer. I can blank you out. I can mute you. I can do whatever the hell I want. I work face to face, and this is harder than working face to face with people. You know. And as for content creators, on TikTok and all that, I don't know how they do that every day, all day long. Walk around with a camera, the phone, and just talk and walk and do things. And like, it is so hard getting used to doing this. You know?
Yeah, it's just reps, Steven. It's just reps, man. Yeah. I actually saw a really good video about that yesterday. A kid asked this giant content creator, like, I'm afraid to make videos. And he was like, just pull out your phone and start recording. It doesn't mean you have to post it. It's reps. That's how you get better at things. You know, so over like 90 of these things, I was just like you. I was like, I'm not the person to be doing this, nervous. I told you about, you know, hitting the weed pen a little bit, just not crazy before the first few episodes, just to calm the nerves and quickly realize like we can't go that route. And now it's like, I enjoy doing these things. I have so much fun doing these, whether it's my show or coming on you guys' show or any other show. It's just fun to have conversations with people, you know, conversations with strangers largely. That's how I operate my podcast. I send an invite. We don't even do a meeting before sometimes. And it's just really cool to build those connections. And man, I've made a ton of great connections and built a ton of cool relationships doing this. And, you know, it's really cool when you start, you know, seeing the fruits of your labor. I got a website submission on one of my forums on my website today of a guy who saw another podcast I was on, and he saw the YouTube short last night, and he's going through it right now. He's having a really rough time. And he sent me a whole message saying, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck to say to you all day. I'm so stuck. Like, everything that you say, I wish that I could figure out how to implement into my life. And it's just like a simple response, like, here's my phone number, dude, call me. Let's work through this, because I largely think what he needs is just somebody to talk to who's been where he's been, you know? And I think the whole idea behind the strategic veteran is, you know, we're all afraid that we're the only ones going through whatever we're going through at the time. And I think everybody's transition journey may look a little different, but by and large, we all feel the same feelings and experience, you know, the same kind of hangups. And we're not alone in that. And we're afraid to ask for help because, you know, the military is not really friendly to people who ask for help, right? Like, my whole career, I'd watch guys' careers get ended for going to mental health. Like, you just bottle that shit up and you don't talk about it because you'll lose your career. And I'm here to tell you it's the exact opposite. I think the strongest thing you can do as a human being is admit that you need help and then seek out the help.
Yeah, I would like to caveat that. I was in country. I had some personal issues while I was deployed once. Got home to a total shit show and talked to my sergeant major and said, get me on the first thing smoking back. And I was back in the States less than about a month and a half. And I went back, and about midway through that tour, I started burning out. And I went down to, one day I walked into mental health and I told the NCOIC there, I said, hey, I need to talk to somebody. And they immediately thought that I was, going to put a gun to my head. I wasn't at that point yet, but I was in that place where I tell people I wasn't suicidal, I was homicidal. And and I went back to the unit in our morning meeting the next morning. I said, look, people, if you're having trouble, I said, go down and just talking to somebody who is not connected with this unit, connected with the job, whatever, go talk to them, vent, yell, scream, do whatever. You'll feel better when you walk out of there. And I did. And rest of the tour went real good. I was.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think that's why I do the podcast, because I really believe that we can heal through conversation. It could be conversation about nothing relevant whatsoever. You don't have to talk about what you're going through, but I think just the back and forth, right? Just talking to somebody else and the connection that you create is very healing.
Yeah.
Don't be pushing those radical views, man.
Is that radical?
We're supposed to be talking on a keyboard to one another.
Nah, bro. I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s. There ain't no such thing as keyboards to talk to anybody. I remember writing research papers on a damn typewriter.
Oh, I remember writing them by hand. So yes,
you did that too. Yeah, of course.
No, Jake was chiseling on a rock, but we won't go for that far back.
Ooh, that's a low blow. That's a low blow.
Dude, you're only 1 year younger than I am. So
hey, we've all seen the difference in technology in a year, so it's not that unbelievable to think that you're probably chiseling away on some stone.
Oh,
see,
hey,
he's got my back.
Probably not. But no, I'm very sarcastic. So yeah, I think this here, if we had 100 people in this chat room, if we had the bandwidth right now to do that and brought 100 people in here and just people raise their hand, get to talk, hey, and, we reach one or two of them, jerk them out of that darkness, we've done our purpose for tonight.
Yes, sir.
And the second hardest part about doing this is my brother's ex-military, Jake's retired. I was never military. So we're talking to you, we're talking to this person, all military, and you're all telling this story, and I'm like, yeah, I work retail. I live in New Jersey. I don't know what the F you're talking about, but I'm here and I'm listening,
Well, and I mean, Stephen, I even think that that's valuable, right? Because sometimes we all just want somebody to listen to us. I can think back to another guy that reached out to me. He got out, had a wonderful career, moved to their dream home in Texas and got the dream job, has no complaints with, how their life is going, but they're struggling to make friends because they're not from Texas. They just really figured out, like, let's go live here. And, I was like, man, I may not be the best person to help you because, like, where I'm at in my life, like, I'm not out looking to make friends. I'm out here trying to build something bigger than to free myself and my time. And what I called him on a Saturday morning and we talked for like an hour and a half. And really what it came to find, he just wanted somebody to listen, to validate that his feelings are there and, solve the problem. Like, hey, man, you've only been there for 60 days. It may take a little bit longer for you to make friends, and just the fact that I was somebody who can relate to him, because we as veterans with other veterans, we have that immediate base of power, not to be abused, but to be used for good. And so he just wanted somebody who could relate, who would understand, to listen. And I think being a sounding board is another role that I play, right? Like, not only having the podcast, but being willing to listen to your problems, because I've been there. I've done that. I mean, everything that I do, I say it all the time on my posts on LinkedIn every day. My name's Adam Peters, and I'm here to be the guy I didn't have when I was transitioning. That's it. That's all I want to be.
Amen.
Just to help you out and help you make the mistakes that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I retired after 25 years and, I figured, well, shoot, I've been doing this for 25 years. I know what I'm going to do. I got out And it scared the ever living shit out of me. Now I'm going to have to go get a real
It's
job.
terrifying, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And, after you're through with your transition leave, you're like, hey, I ain't making no money right now. And I still hadn't found a job. So I go stupidly down to the unemployment office. Well, luckily, there was a retired sergeant first class working in the unemployment office. And she pulled me over to the side and she says, hey, she's like, we don't get this because we get a retirement check. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. And I said, I just need something because I said, I got a job coming in about 2 weeks. And she says, you can get a half a month of unemployment and then that's it. And so I did that, got my job in that 2 weeks, and it was off to the races. But I want to touch a little bit on the gratitude.
Let's do it. What do you want to know?
I want to tell you my story with gratitude. I wake up every morning thankful that I woke up because that is not guaranteed. And, people, they want to concentrate on everything that's going bad in their life. Well, it's like, okay, well, hey, you woke up today. That's a plus. Do you have a roof or some kind of shelter over your head? Yes. Well, that's something to be thankful for. Do you still have both legs and both arms? Yes. And there's so much stuff to be thankful and grateful for in your life that if you concentrate on that, you ain't got nothing to bitch about.
Nope.
Very true.
It's so true. I love that you say that because for me, I wake up every day. The first thing it's 5 things before my feet ever hit the floor that I'm grateful for, and they don't have to be big things. And you say them out loud, right? I'm grateful for the dogs. I'm grateful for my wife sleeping next to me. I'm grateful that I woke up today. I'm grateful that I have food on my table, and I'm grateful that I get up and go do what I do every single day. That's it.
Oh, see, I normally
I
just
feel
curse
so much
that
better.
I got to get in the shower and go to work. And God damn it.
And another thing, and Rich is actually listening, so he will is show empathy for people.
Oh,
and kindness.
Man, so important. Yes. Yes. I was extremely guilty of not having any empathy. I used to run around, having 4 deployments, right, and spending almost 5 total years in a combat zone over those 4 deployments. I used to walk around and like, you had a hard day? You have no idea what a hard day is. Zero empathy whatsoever. And it's the complete 180 now. I realized that everybody's trauma is their own and they're all on their own journey. So you just have to meet them where they're at and try to understand. You may not feel the way that they feel, but you can at least try to relate to what they're going through because you've had moments in your life where you felt exactly how they feel and why they're acting the way that they're acting. You've acted that way as well. So I really do think that, empathy goes so far, man. It really does. But there's also, you got to be careful because you can over empathize and take that on and really do some damage to yourself.
Yes, that can become that can become a weight up on you. But my dad always told me, he said, nice begets nice. And, just be nice, treat people like they're human. And
I think I can sum this up for you in a little bit more powerful way. I believe that what you put comes back to you tenfold. So if I can put out love and empathy and kindness and knowledge, that will come back to me tenfold at some point. And I really think that that's really kind of what I've experienced in the last year is the more I do, the more I put out there, the more that it comes back around to me. And so if you want to put all the evil, dark bullshit out there, that's exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah. I actually read that in a book somewhere, that what you do will come back on you tenfold. And yes, it does. So if I want to get in contact with you, what's all the different ways I can contact you?
Well, you can go to my website, thestrategicveteran.com. It'll tell you everything I have going on, links to the newsletter, the podcast. There's a form there. You can contact me. And I do everything pretty much on LinkedIn, so you can DM me on LinkedIn. You can't miss me. I got 2 little salute emojis next to my name, thanks to whoever one of my followers was that suggested I do that. And I still answer all of my comments and DMs, so I don't have a virtual assistant, and AI doesn't control that stuff for me. So you will actually get me. Just be patient as I get more busy. I fall behind a little bit. So, but I promise you I'll answer you. I really do enjoy filling my calendar and just talking to people, networking with people, and building relationships.
Are you on Facebook or any other social media like that?
I do, yeah. I've got Instagram and I've got Facebook, but I don't do anything over there. I'm not huge. I'm still like kind of trying to get on my own way on the social media thing, right? Like exist more place face out there, but also social media is a big time suck. So not only are you creating content for one platform, then you got to change the format for another platform because it doesn't like the way that this other platform does it. And I don't know. I'll get there eventually. Maybe when I've got money to pay somebody to repurpose my content. But the best way is definitely, I think I check Instagram like maybe twice a week, and Facebook, I don't know, maybe once a week. I created my own community to compete with Facebook groups because I think they're toxic places. I had a meeting with a woman today. She's really great, but she has like 15K in her Facebook group, but she has to have 15 moderators because of all the crap that goes on in there. And I was like, I don't feel like dealing with that at all. Like that just doesn't sound fun to me. So yeah, you can find me. I think my Facebook is the Strategic Veteran. There is a business page. And then my Instagram is probably Pete0585. I think you can find me there. And then I have the YouTube as well. This is actually live on YouTube right now. So you can find it on the Strategic Veteran YouTube page as well. Yeah.
Well, hey, if you don't mind a shameless pitch here, we invite all your YouTube followers to pop on over and check us out.
Yeah. Hey, all 63 of you guys, get over here and follow the Misfits Nation podcast.
See that?
What 3 things for you every day are non-negotiable? What is something that you have to do every day?
Every day, some form of hard physical activity, fasting, and expressing gratitude, man. Those are the 3 non-negotiables for me, period, bar none, end of story. You mentioned it earlier. After the ayahuasca trip, I lost 100 pounds. And I did that largely through intermittent fasting and walking, believe it or not. So usually my day will start with a 4-mile walk with my dogs at a pretty quick pace. And then I told you how I wake up every morning. I try to express gratitude for 5 things out loud. I'm not perfect. It doesn't happen every single morning, but at some point in the day, I will express gratitude, whether that's for coming on this show. I'm grateful for that. Or if you get an email from me, you'll see my email signature is signed with gratitude. Because I'm truly grateful to be doing what I'm doing and just enjoying my life. And I think everybody that comes into my life, whether it's for a 30-minute meeting or, to build a relationship that we can leverage in the future, I need to be grateful for that because we don't get anywhere alone. And then fasting, man, I don't have a great relationship with food. Part of my childhood trauma is food trauma. So I'm taking steps to redefine my relationship with food, but I latched on to the fasting thing, man. I really believe in the power of fasting, and so I have to fast. I fast for a minimum of 16 hours every single day. Largely, it's usually closer to 20, and that's 7 days a week. we're well over a year of that now. And it's been amazing, man. And so if I don't walk, I'll also go lift weights. Finally kind of over the hump of back surgery from January. So getting back into lifting weights and doing something hard every single day, man.
All right. Well,
great.
that sounds like an awesome regimen that you do there. You're offering a great service. You're doing great things. I hope that, well, I got a nephew out there listening tonight he's been out of the Army a little while, but I still consider him in that transition period. He's got him a good job now. He works for range control at Yakima. So you probably know where that's at, don't you?
Yeah, I sure do. Yakistan, man. Ugh. I mean, good for him. He's got a range control job out there, but I just don't want to be cruising around the high desert like that. That's just not for me.
I understand. Adam, thank you so much for being on here with us tonight. And Misfit Nation, we thank you for being on here and joining us tonight. And I can't wait to see y'all again.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm super grateful to be here. And I really love what you guys are doing and just am grateful for the opportunity to give back, man.
Hey,
pleasure
and
speaking with you.
You ever want to do this again, give us a shout, and we can dive deeper into whatever.
Let's do it, man. I'm always game. Like I said, this is fun for me. This is a blast. I enjoy doing this. So whenever, let me know.
All right, we will. And matter of fact, my nephew just posted up that he'll be following you, and thanks for all the information.
Well, I appreciate that, Ryan, man. And if you ever need anything from me, man, seriously reach out. LinkedIn, or go to the website, fill out the form. Whatever, dude, just reach out. Please, anybody that's listening, like, I really am approachable. I really do answer all of my DMs. I really do give away everything that I'm doing for free, largely. I just want to help you guys avoid the same mistakes that I made.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, hey, we're going to cut on out of here. Misfit Nation, thank you. We love you, and we're glad that you joined us tonight. Adam, best of luck to you, and you have a great evening. It should be about 8:00.
Thank you, guys.
You're
Take
very
care.
welcome.
I'm on the
everybody.
East Coast.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. 8:52. You got that. Have a good night, everybody.
See y'all.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.